Hey everybody, this is Murray from New Hampshire, Dr. Murray, and I just wanted to shoot a video to vocalize my my purpose. I've done some deep soul searching, and I know what my purpose is. It's become very evident that I lacked purpose, or I lacked knowing what my purpose was, because I had become unfocused and undisciplined in what I was doing, and kind of scatterbrained, scattershot, bouncing around random, and I wasn't getting anywhere. And through some exercises that the Empower Network has shown me, I think I now know what my purpose is, and it's allowed me to laser focus in on my goals. And while I describe that, I want to show you two of my purposes. There's one right there, that's Lily, and there's Oreo. And we have just been socked with, in fact, we're still getting socked with the blizzard of 2013, known as Nemo. And so I thought I'd shoot this video outside so you can kind of enjoy the scenery. So I can enjoy the scenery when I watch this video again, because it's really beautiful here, and it's part of my purpose. A quick story. I was fortunate to know all four of my grandparents growing up, and it was ironic that my grandparents were completely opposite in everything, and yet they were great friends, just only because of the fact that my parents got married. They would never have probably ever met each other. They might, yeah, I guess they knew each other, but they would never have been friends. My mom's side, we have my grandfather was the town doctor. Now picture this is like from the 40s to the 70s. He was the town doctor in a small town in Maine, and he used to do house visits on a horseback riding, to go visit patients at their house. I mean, who does that nowadays? Unbelievable. The guy went to Harvard, med school, brilliant guy, great grandfather, but you know, he was businesslike and professional, and you know, he was a great grandfather. But it's my other grandfather that is truly the one that is probably my favorite person in my life. He is from French-speaking Canada, northern Maine. He flunked out of second grade because he couldn't speak English at the time, so he's uneducated. His family had 6 kids, and he was the second oldest boy, and his father asked all the children in the family, so that was my great-grandfather, asked all his kids to quit school and work in the family store so that they could save enough money so that the firstborn boy, the oldest boy, could go to college, because nobody in the family had ever gone to college. So the entire family sacrificed so that his older brother could go to college. And you know, it's stories like that, you know, that's the kind of guy I want to be. So that grandfather, his name is Tony, so I keep the name straight. You know, as a kid growing up, he would always pull me aside and give me lessons, and the only way he could do it. He was always a character. The whole town knew him. He taught everybody in town how to fish. I'm going to be sharing some stories about him, quite a few stories on videos, but I just want to tell you this one story that really exemplifies him. So if you can picture the movie Grapes of Wrath, which is black and white, 1940s roughly, with what's the guy's name? Oh man. Anyway, it's Depression. It's Depression era. You know, about the Depression and about this family moving to going across country during the Dust Bowl, and how their farm was destroyed and taken by banks, and how bleak everything is, and it's in black and white. It's so bleak. Henry Fonda's the guy. When he was young, he was a great actor, and the whole situation is so bleak. I highly recommend you see it. It's an old movie, but you know, great. It's a tearjerker. It's a heart. It'll tear your heart out. But so picture that era, you know, the Great Depression. People didn't have jobs, and you know, it's unbelievable how people got by. And my grandfather was a young man, probably in his 20s, I'm going to guess then. Yeah. And he owned a small general store. Didn't make a lot of money, I'll tell you that. Near a railroad up in rural Maine, out in the middle of the woods. And the railroad would go by, and there was a stop there, and there was his store, and maybe a couple other houses. There wasn't much else. And during this time, every once in a while, he'd get a knock at the door, and there'd be a guy, you know, hobo. Hobos used to ride trains. They'd jump on a train and get a free ride somewhere. And, you know, they wouldn't pay, but it was a glorified method of transportation for a lot of people. Hobos were people who didn't have jobs, that kind of bummed around and just kind of lived off the land. And there's a lot of hobos back then. It was a common sight, I guess. And you see, you know, cartoons of these guys carrying a stick with a bag at the end of the stick of all their clothes. That's what a hobo is. That's what I think of a hobo anyway. Anyway, these guys, hobos, would knock on his door, often in the middle of the night, and ask for some food. And you know, most people would turn these kind of people away. My grandfather would always give like a loaf of bread or some vegetables or something, and he would never turn anyone down. And I don't know how long this went on, but one day a hobo knocked at the door, and my grandfather gave him some food, and the guy, you know, they were always thankful because these people had nothing. And the guy said, listen, I want to clue you in on something. You know why all the hobos Do you know why all the hobos knock on your door? And, you know, it never crossed his mind why so many knock on his door. He says, the hobo pointed to my grandfather's garage, and there was some chalk marks on the garage that he never noticed before. And the hobo said, see, that, you know what that is? And my grandfather said, no, I don't. And the hobo said, well, those are marks, those are signals to other people like me that the person... I had to recompose myself there. The chalk marks on the garage are symbols that some hobo in the past has had success begging for food at this house, and the person who lived here was very generous and was very helpful. And so this hobo was being nice, telling my grandfather that, hey, you're a marked man. You know, people know that you got a soft heart. And my grandfather thought that was pretty cool. He didn't erase the chalk mark. He let it stay there, and I guess he got quite a few more visits from hobos. So, you know, what's ironic is my grandfather didn't have much, you know. So he shared everything he had. So that's the kind of guy I want to be, you know. I've always looked up to my grandfather. He's always been extremely helpful. He took me under his wing. You know, my dad was in Vietnam. Had to go to Vietnam for a year. So my mom and I had to stay by ourselves for a whole year. Actually, there was 3 different tours of duty. My dad was in the Army. There was 3 different tours of duty that he would go overseas, and it was the kind of tour where you weren't allowed to have a family because of the situation. One was Korea. They were all overseas, semi-combat, either combat or non-family friendly type environments. We did have other trips overseas where, you know, the family did go, like Germany, which was awesome, but there was 3 trips where my dad would go overseas, and my mom and I, just us, would stay in the hometown where my grandparents lived, a small town in Maine. Algonquin, Maine, if you ever heard of it, it's pretty famous actually, a big resort town. And Tony, my grandfather Tony, who I lovingly called the old master, would take me under his wing and give me all kinds of advice, whether I needed it or not, you know. And so I'll share some of that advice later on, but that's the kind of guy I want to be. I just want to help people. You get so much out of life when you help people. I know that, and I want to help other people get what they want. I want to be able to spend more time with my family, to do what I want to do when I want to do it. I have a great family. I have a great wife, 2 kids, 2 dogs, nice house, and you know, we don't get to spend as much time together as we'd like. Life, you know, I don't want it written on my grave, boy, this guy could really balance the books. So this guy, his debits always equal his credits, you know? I mean, that's not what I want to be known for. I want to be known for someone who had a big heart, and who helped a lot of people get what they want, and was a good father and a good husband. Because you know, my family deserves it, and you know, I deserve it too. Here's 2 of my buddies right here. It's Lily and Oreo. Hi, Oreo. Hi, Lily. Lily's not a big fan of snow. Both are adopted. By the way, you should always adopt dogs. Dogs are great, and there's so many good dogs available for adoption. We've adopted probably 6 or 7, not all at once. Anyway, now that I have my purpose, now that I know my why, I've become much more focused on what I need to do to get what I want. And you know, the folks at Empower Network and other folks have been trying to beat that into me, and sometimes it takes a 2x4 across the head, or some event, some traumatic event, to finally realize, you know, what they're talking about. You know, I've always been looking for strategies and tactics and everything like that, and the latest tool or gizmo that's going to make me $1 million, but you know, none of that worked. And you know, and you get frustrated when you hear these guys. David Wood is the classic case of telling stories and going rambling on, and you're like, come on, tell me how to make $1 million. And you know, he was, and it took a while for that to sink in. But the guy is brilliant, the company is brilliant, the mission is brilliant. These are real people, not just trying to make money. They're trying to get you to what you really want. And the first thing you need to do to get what you really want is to know what you really want. How obvious, huh? How obvious. But it's not obvious when you're in the middle of it. You know, it's the old expression, you can't see the forest for the trees. If you're in the middle of the woods, you know, sometimes you can't see the trees because you're stuck in the middle of the woods. Anyway, I'm going on, I'm rambling like David Wood, huh? How's that? I picked this stuff up fast. Stay with me, you go places. Anyway, so I would encourage you, if you are watching this, if you've been able to sit through all this so far, to think about what you really want in life. Think about what your purpose is. We have exercises in other videos that can show you how to actually figure that out. And through some mental exercises, which are pretty easy to do, really. I would encourage you to find out what that is, and then if you need a vehicle, once you figure out what your purpose in life is, you really ought to check out the Empower Network. I'm telling you, there's nothing like it. It's not just a make money scheme, it's a achieve your purpose in life scheme. And it works, and anyone can do it. You can do it part-time. You don't have to have experience. Just if you're watching this and there is a link to a video or a link attached, you need to click on the link. It may ask you for your email address so we can stay in touch. Put your email address in, don't be a wussy, and watch the video and change your life. Some lady at church told me recently, it's a lot better to be in the parade than to watch it go by. So join me in the parade.